going on the ground as well. But one thing I do want to point out is that the whole purpose of this air show is to provide much needed funds for the Royal Air Force Benevolence Fund. The fund is reaching out to more people than ever before, but it...
Thank you for riding with the Red Arrows. Please stay in your seat. The door is full and the secondary motion system is good. Aficionado will know that's the sound of the mighty Balkan. The steerman's part of the utterly butterly team, we'll be seeing more of those later, and thanks to them for giving Bliss a ride. We'll see another round behind us, and they'll return. Patrulla Aguila is rolling. All 7 of them rolling down the runway together in their formation shape.
In a wedge of 7. Then Aguila 1 is the leader of the formation, is Major Fernandez. He's pulling smoothly into the loop after having made the call for smoke
See how long it takes you to get out. Okay?
Patrulla Águila. Introduction formation.
Up behind him on short finals, so the Hawk is just going to clear the runway in time to... If you're down at the right-hand end of the runway and you're able to see the F-16 clearly, you'll see the missiles, so we think they're probably smoke generators. If they were missiles, they'd be sidewinders, so these are smoke winders. So we'll be able to trace Richard Bous's path through the air.
down just beyond the piano here. He may well be able to see you, and there's his drag chute. Now it'll be interesting to watch what he does with the chute. If he just disconnects it and it falls on the runway, somebody will have to fetch it off the runway before anything more can be done. So the polite pilot tends to turn the aircraft slightly off the runway, open the taps slightly, and then let the chute go so it flows off the side of the runway. There it goes. Beautifully done. He let it go and he's now blowing it off onto the... Oh, there it is. I see some lights in the distance now, appearing out of the murk. This murk wasn't formed on the forecast
aircraft, and it doesn't have as much drag as the F-16 has when it's pulling.
from Jagdbombergeschwader 32. Swept, aircraft on the knife edge, watch for the wings coming forward. There it is, he's touched down. Seems to be going quite slowly for a tornado.
Yes, indeed. You see the spoilers deploying. Someone actually described flying a Tucano type.
Well, Steve Simpson's doing his rolling show. He's decided that the cloud base is such that another day. It's the wingman. And here they go. Of the aircraft as they go down the runway. You'll notice that the French Air Force has the Royal Jordanian Airline. Pilots come from the airport, holding the aircraft inverted. Easy to see, of course, it's a big swing undercarriage, therefore you can see at the moment that the undercarriage is pointing upwards, pushing all the way around. Very uncomfortable manoeuvre. Hashana. Okay, if you look very carefully, you can see that tattoo, originally in bit specials, the little biplane. Just keep your eye on the man that is closest to us at the moment. That's the solo. And there's a snack roll that's not only using the
ailerons, but also adding a boot full of rudder, and that really makes the aircraft flick around pretty quickly. Coming back to the crown centre. Vertical rolls there, pulling the aircraft onto its back. Now the main formation return coming in directly in front of you. Again, pulling 90 degrees to change the direction of the display. And barrel roll this time. Again, Sean's described that. If you imagine a barrel lying on the side in front of you, imagine it. Formation are just going to position on this B-axis coming straight towards us for their brake, the Hashemite brake. But as soon as that has been completed, just keep your eye out because the solar will be back again. So lovely blue sky. I don't think the Met Man said it was going to be quite as nice as that, but it is. Quarter clover leap, changing the direction of the formation back towards us. And just wait for the Hashemite brake. Your wingmen now out to the right and left, forming synchronized maneuvers. 2 small turns. On the using the fuselage rather than the wings. You can see the aircraft there on a great speed. You can see the main formation have completed their loop. Solo now an Alpha Jet. Unfortunately, the Alpha Jets aren't with us this weekend. They've had a problem, and both the French and the Belgian Alpha Jets are moving into sort of an area that we call the Golden Jubilee scene. You'll enjoy that, trust me. Don't go for lunch during the Sea Harriers. And then another one of our international displays, this time...
Well, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, there was a small problem there with the undercarriage of the G222. It looks like the fire has gone out, the engines are closed down. So that will unfortunately cause us to stop still for a while. The crew are walking away from the aircraft. Obviously nobody's been hurt, glad to say. But the aircraft nose wheel appears to have collapsed. See, the emergency vehicles are on their way. Be there any time now.
Hoeveel heb je getrokken nou? Te veel. De keur, laat dat voorbij rijden, blijft te trekken. Oh, dat trekt nog.
There will be lots of hot parts in there, so there continues to be a risk until the thing is thoroughly cooled down. But very quick reaction from the emergency services, as you would expect. These are the kind of things they... They've got 6 engines, but in fact they do have only 4 of the big Allison turboprops. So, really at very short notice, the RAF reacting very quickly.
wing walkers are Helen, Marie, Sophie and Rhiannon.
Ja.
The aircraft are highly coloured and very sort of brightly coloured aircraft. They have been well known for
125 miles an hour maybe.
of eagle leap, running directly towards the formation, carry out a manoeuvre known as spreading the needle. This year sees the return of two former members from 2001, enjoying their second season on the team, the first of which is the Elphinstone Loop. Developed by a helicopter instructor at the School of Army Aviation at Middle Wallop, a chap called Alan Elphinstone. This is designed to simulate the loop, as the Gazelle is not a fully aerobatic aircraft and limited to 90 degrees of pitch and 90 degrees. Pitch comes.
From the noise, can't you? It's got that sort of heavy thumping. And its maximum all-up weight is more than 14 tons. So this is a big bit of kit.
Welcome to display by the Royal Navy's newest aircraft, the Beelden. The Royal Navy's version of the H101 is a multi-role.
Designed and built by Augusta of Italy and GKN Westland Helicopters of the United Kingdom, and that's a combination that's known as European Helicopter Squadron 4, all the Merlins. They embark on in a training ship, the RFA Argus, 3 times a year. Multi-function displays, not the ordinary old analog instruments, and it can be flown by a single pilot. Blue Kestrel radar. Versions on offer. That Merlin helicopter, but there's also one with a big rear ramp that lets down, like the Hercules we saw earlier, to load light.
All of the Navy Sea Harrier pilots will be converting onto the RAF GR7. The GR7 itself will be upgraded and will become the GR9. Externally it won't look much different, but it's all to do with better engine and new software. Now, they've had to modify their thrust engines. If you look just forward of where the wing joins the fuselage and just behind, you can actually see the vectored thrust nozzles at the moment pointing almost vertically backwards. For short takeoff, you'll see that they're motored forward, so they'll be pointing a little bit further downwards rather than backwards to do a short tactical takeoff. So about the size of an extremely large suitcase, those are the vector thrust nozzles.
Fantastic! Yeehaw!
Oh, sick, how mooi.
The 899 Squadron, which is the operational conversion unit for the Shah, or Sea Harrier. As they currently expected to remain for about our side of the runway. The number 2 and number 4 landing on the far side of the runway.
There's a lovely, interesting fighter type approach. You can tell this is the Navy, really.
Sling thing you can see on the far side of the runway with the sort of fantail, that's a Manchester.
It wasn't friendly, but I don't hold any feelings of malice against the RAF guys that did it.
Actually have a 4-ship team as well, I'm reliably informed. Wing rocking to say goodbye. Well, now on the runway, another of the quieter ones, the PC-7, the Pilatus PC-7, turbo trainer of 131 Squadron, the Royal Military School of the Air Force, the Royal Netherlands Air Force.
Van die kroon.
90 degrees, which will change its direction.
Coming up now, towards line, to a lump. 4 Gs, straight up, and roll, and top roll.
So there he is, having come off the B axis, he's now back on the A axis.
Coming straight down, and pulling out. And we'll go for the loop. Keeping the wings level. And 6 Gs here. Over the top altitude, so good. Continuing. And next maneuver will be derry turn for the slow roll.
So we'll see the derry turn again as he goes away from us. He'll want to turn to the left.
So now I look for the left wing tip. 45 degrees nose down, stopping it up, rolling it straight, and the wobble. Degrees, stop, hold, and roll, and roll. Last one up. Beautifully looking airplane. Used by 13 nations over Britain. We used it both for at the time of the Royal Navy. Right brain 3. The world speed record 727.6 miles an hour in the hands of Neville Duke. Total 100 were exported. Comet 4C airliner, and it was the world's first, and it's still the only 4-jet maritime reconnaissance aircraft. Generally operates anti-submarine warfare, so it goes to look for submarines. They can do that by a variety of means, either the very powerful search water radar.
These aircraft, because of course normally airliners have weather radar in the nose, but you can't do that when you've got a single engine in the nose, so you have it in a little pod on the wingtip. Well, one of the things that's going to happen in the near future is that
Instead is with the squadron since 1992 with a 300 power engine. Our pilots and officers of the Chilean Air Force have an age lieutenant. Now the formation continuing in inverted flight, inclined to perform an split S. In this display, you will see the Halcone perform several maneuvers immediately after takeoff in vertical X formation. These maneuvers, which are common in aerobatic displays, illustrate the outstanding performance of the aircraft and the high level of starting with a normal half Q&A. Once in the top and inverted, he accelerated his aircraft and he is preparing now an inverted half Q&A, as you can see. During this maneuver, the pilot is pulling banks to the left in the top of the maneuver, and now the pilot dives in 90 degrees to the ground with full throttle. The hammerhead is recovered in inverted flight. Both pilots. The formation will coordinate with perform a vertical 360 degrees turn, thus maintaining their position only a few feet apart. Number 3 and 4 detach. And please concentrate in aircrafts 1 and 2. Each now perform a half Q&A to gain speed. During this maneuver, the aircraft is inverted. Turning its own axis, you can see how the smoke forms a perfect spin. Upon recovery, aircraft number 5 will be facing us to invert its trajectory and detach to the left with a high G turn where both the pilot and the aircraft experience more than 4 negative Gs. Number 2 are approaching to perform one maneuver which only the Halcones perform in the world. It's called loop and barrel roll in mirror formation. As most pilots should know, this is a highly complex and difficult maneuver. During this loop and barrel roll, we can see the two aircrafts maneuvering with cockpits and tails, flying at distance no more than 2.5 meters apart. To right, the solo approaches to demonstrate a torque roll. Here, there, and once recovered, he will perform a 40-degree climb with a hard roll and a speed S. Completely with a leader.
And other members of the organisation that provide these things include Chuck Yeager, Frank Borman, Bill Anders and Bud Anderson. Lovely tight formation. The Thunderbolt, the Jug, is the bigger of the two aircraft. Of the Merlin engine that powered the Spitfire. But the great thing about the Mustang is a highly slippery laminar flow aerodynamics, and the combination of that with the Merlin engine was just amazing. The wings made of plastic and pressed paper, and it meant that the Mustang could escort bombers all the way to Berlin, unlike any previous aircraft. So Mustangs were instrumental in establishing Allied air superiority over the heart of Germany. Fairly regularly over here. So it's a great pleasure to see these two. And if you have a chance to see that Jug as it rolls down the runway, it is just enormous, isn't it? That big silver and black machine. to the air with one of our VIP visitors today. Very pleased to do. You probably can't see it. That's the way it's designed. I think we owe the 393rd Bomb Squadron, part of the 509th Bomb Wing at Whiteman Air Force Base, a big debt of gratitude for that. One more off the east coast of the USA inbound, and then back to Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. With its escort of 4 F-15s, the stealth fighter is taking off, the F-117A. Before we do that, the B-1B bomber is taking off. It's lined up on the runway to your right. They made up less than 3% of the coalition aircraft, but they attacked more than 40% of the strategic targets. And in Allied force, that was Kosovo, the F-117s and the B-2s were the only aircraft to fly in the very heavily defended Belgrade and Novi Sad areas. Pete Wilkie coming by from the right in an arcing pass, so we should get a top surface view of the aircraft as it flies by. But in the Second World War was one of the first to go to the Pacific theatre of operations. The Fighting 49ers produced 43 aces. Richard Bong, who had 40 kills, and he's still America's #1 ace. 7th Squadron were called the Screaming Demons, the 8th were the Black Sheep, and the 9th, these folks were the Flying Knights. Well, I think we're getting another pass from the stealth. How nice. It's all about, that's why you have all these emergency teams around to cope with exactly that kind of situation. There's the drag chute, opening at the back of the stealth fighter. Prestige. Hawk 11 is with us. spread. It's only half the wingspan of a B-52. Fast for a heavy bomber, Mach 1.25, 1.25 times the speed of sound, and the crews say it's faster than a speeding bullet out of the air. 28th Squadron is the training unit for the whole B-1 force, so these are all training instructors. Aircraft, MB339s of the
On the ground, the flight is controlled and coordinated. Section just in front of you. After the take a look at the plane. Is still inside the field of Fairford, and now done this. Now the solo get out from the maneuver. Here you go, up.
Salute to the bomber crews.
Well, to right now, Tornado GR4 just getting airborne. Metallic colour rather than the grey sort of camouflage scheme. They can be, they're normally positioned pointing vertically backwards for conventional flight. They can be brought 90 degrees pointing vertically down, and that's how it hovers. Actually be taken past the vertical, which is how the Harrier can actually fly backwards. For a short takeoff, you'll see the aircraft accelerate forward, then bring the nozzles back to probably about sort of 45 to 60 degrees, and that's when it's sort of all on now. gas nozzles now going right the way back, aircraft accelerating up into a sort of formed in September 1915 at Uphaven. Then of course it was the Royal Flying Corps. Served primarily answered places like India and Burma, Second World War, and probably as Lawrence of Arabia, but that's where he was in the Air Force with 20 Squad. Okay, pulling up now for horizontal 8. Pulling up as if it was a loop, but watch it checks about 45 degrees nose down and rolls through 180 degrees. So it's got two 25mm Aiden guns, it can carry rockets, bombs, flares, self-defense. It's got the Sidewinder missile. It can also carry laser-guided bombs. 41 years since its predecessor, the Hawker P1124, 2-7 with the Hawker. Backwards, that's 67 degrees. Watch the silhouette of the aircraft as it'll change. Wings swing fully. Now there's an additional member of the crew on board today that's flying off. Very shortly you'll see here the engine scrolling up again. Avionics, better integration of the weapon system, and this big engine.
Lieutenant General Robert Burns of the 8th Air Force. And as you'll find out, he's a delightful older gentleman, but Polbrook. The rest of the crew bailed out. The navigator and the engineer couldn't get the injured and now unconscious co-pilot out of his seat. And so they opted to try and land the plane. And this, taking off in front of us, is the kind of plane we're talking about. This was a B-17. These two men had never attempted anything like it at all, not least in a shattered B-17. But they were determined to try and save the life of their wounded comrade. Colonel Robert Burns and Group Commander went up in their B-17s to see what could be done.
The flak, and certainly not the German fighter fleet, but it was the best we had at the time, and it did a good job.
And today, how would you like to pay tribute?
Knowing what had happened,
I'd love to talk to you for hours, and I'm sure everybody'd like to hear, but I know you have to go because you need to be on that. Of the United States Air Force. Two Merlin engines got airborne, one Spitfire, one Hurricane. 4 more are about to take to the air, attached to the wings of the magnificent Battle of Britain Memorial Flight Lancaster. One of only 2 left in the world.